Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Ted Rollins in for Julie Grant as we kick off another week here at Court TV. For the next few hours, we're going to catch you up on the dad in the ditch murder trial out of the state of Iowa. This is the trial where the judge won't allow us to show this live, but we get to air it the day after. So basically today, right now, we're going to show you day 3, which was Friday in this case. Before we do that, though, let's get you caught up on the background of this case. For that, we turn to Court TV's Matt Johnson.
55-year-old Dennis Jones was shot and killed in April of this year. His 26-year-old son, Alec Jones, allegedly pulled the trigger, and his youngest son, Nathan, allegedly helped cover up the murder. A mail carrier found Dennis Jones' body in a ditch by the side of a country road on April 26th. Investigators believe Jones was not shot in that ditch. They obtained a search warrant for his home, where he lived with his 2 sons and his wife. Shannon Jones spoke with news station KCCI.
I got nobody now. I live in this big house all alone.
She told KCCI she was home sleeping when her husband was shot.
I can't really tell you anything. I don't know nothing about what, I don't know. They're good boys. This wasn't premeditated. Vinny and I had an altercation earlier that Thursday evening, and I went to bed.
After police searched the family home, they arrested the brothers. According to court documents, the defendants made admissions about the crime to other witnesses. Alec and Nathan Jones pleaded not guilty. Alec is charged with first-degree murder. And according to court documents, he says he was intoxicated and shot his father in self-defense. Nathan Jones is charged with aiding and abetting murder in the first degree. Their trials are being held separately.
And it is playing out in Iowa. Today will be day 4. Let's get you caught up on day 3. This was Friday. The prosecution called Robin Graves to the stand. This is a neighbor of the Jones family. It outlined basically some footage that her 3 security cameras caught at the time in question. Let's watch.
At your home, is there a video camera or video surveillance system set up in your outside area?
We have a doorbell camera, which is angled towards 15th, so it gets half of that side and a little bit of our neighbor next to us, so it gets 15th. And then we have one that is on the front corner that has the floodlight that faces that way also, and then another one that faces the other part of our house.
And can you tell me what kind of system that is?
It's a Roku, R-O-K-U system.
When did you get that?
Probably about a year ago.
And are you the individual that installed it?
My husband and my youngest son installed it for us.
Do you know how to operate it or log in to view the footage?
Yes.
Okay. And how do you do that?
I have an app on my phone, and I just get into that app and it brings it up to live feed, or it goes back to about 2 weeks from the day that I'm looking.
Is it constantly working, or how does it work?
Not constantly. We're actually gonna upgrade our system. This is like motion censored or vehicle, pet, even our flag sometimes we'll just set it off. So it's recording when there's motion.
Okay.
On all of them.
Okay. And was it in operation on April 25th, 2024 and April 26th, 2024?
It was, yes.
Did it capture some events that were occurring across the street at 1440 2nd Avenue?
Yes.
May I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
Miss Graves, I'm holding a jump drive. Can you tell me, does that look familiar with you? And it's marked as State's Exhibit 101.
Yes.
Okay. Why does it look familiar to you?
Because we just were rewatching everything on there to make sure that came from mine, and I initialed it and dated it.
Okay, so it's initialed RG and dated today?
Yes.
Okay. And everything on here, all the clips are a fair and accurate depiction of what your surveillance system would capture on the 25th and 26th
Yes,
of April?
yes.
Okay.
Ms. Graves, do you recall when the police initially contacted you about obtaining video from your system?
We were gone and they stopped at the house and talked to my older son, and we were given her card to contact her back. And we did. She wanted to see if we had any video from that incident.
And when you're saying she, are you talking about Detective Allie Thompson or Officer Thompson from the Fort Dodge Police Department?
Yes.
And so do you recall whether it was you or it was your husband, Harold, who initially talked to Officer Thompson?
That I don't remember. I know we had Allie and Officer Molly Anderson come to the house when we found videos that were on our phone or on our Roku system on our app, and they came to look at some of it.
Okay. I just want to kind of break it down sort of step by step though, because there's actually sort of 3 times that they reached out to you, correct?
Yes.
So there's the initial one that's maybe a few days, sounds like you were maybe out of town. There was this initial contact where they initially got access to the system, correct?
There was when they came by the house and we were gone. There was when they came to the house and I showed them video. And then we went to the police station to give them access to our Roku account because I couldn't transfer the videos to them easy, so we gave them access. And then she called again while we were gone, wanting to see if we still had anything else.
Timing-wise, though, there was a gap in between some of those contacts, correct?
Just from the last time that we were there to give her access, and then a couple of weeks ago, last week or a couple of weeks ago.
Is it fair to say that they would have gotten access to the videos at the end of April initially?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall that in July, just a couple weeks ago actually, they would have reached out to you again about possibly a missing video?
No, they never said nothing about a missing video. They just asked if there was a way to go back to look at the videos from that day.
Okay. And is that when you went down to the station to try to do that?
No.
Okay.
Because on my phone, it only shows up to 2 weeks. It's like up in the cloud, and I don't know. That's why I have my kids, because they're tech savvy. I'm not.
And just so that I'm clear, when you say when I asked you that they got access to the account, you just gave them your login credentials, correct?
Correct.
So they could have, back at the end of April when they had your login credentials, they could have seen anything that was on the system and decided to take anything off of it, correct?
Correct.
And so then yesterday, did it come to light that you actually had some videos on your phone?
Yes.
And they had not asked you for any videos on your phone yet?
They didn't know that I had saved those videos onto my phone.
And so if they didn't know that they were saved on your phone, they didn't ask for them, correct?
Correct.
You alerted them to the fact that they were on your phone?
Yes.
And so yesterday they transferred those from your phone, the physical
Correct.
phone?
Correct.
All right, saying, hey, she alerted the state. I actually do have some videos, and then you can hear gunshots in these videos. Probably it's not going to push this case all the way, where the state wanted, but last-minute evidence brought in by the lady down the street in her T-shirt. Let's bring in Tommy Pope. Tommy, this is an interesting case. The problem for the defense is the boys lied. Alec told police initially, I had nothing to do with it. I wasn't there, and then ends up basically confessing. How difficult a hurdle is that typically when jurors see a defendant first tell one version of a story and then try to tell another? And in this case, we anticipate him trying to tell a self-defense story.
Ted, as you've seen, it's ripe for cross-examination if they decide to testify. If they don't, of course, you can compare the two statements. The moving the body, the cleaning up, all the things they did, they boxed themselves in that they're gonna have to explain these things. On first blush, you had a domestic situation, you had drug use. We used to call it the defense of, the victim needed killing type deal. And they can make some hay with that if they had not done all these extra things they did, to try to cover up the crime. And unfortunately, it appears they did a sloppy job at doing that.
Yeah, they sure did. It was evident that they had attempted to cover it up. If he gets up and he needed killing is the theme, which the prosecution actually gave into in the opening statement, saying that this was not a guy that was, a fantastic person. Apparently, he was engaged in domestic violence with his wife, puts the kids in a very unique and difficult position. People could have empathy for that. Is there a little window that's still open for if Alec gets up there on the stand and tells a story of self-defense combined with years of abuse?
I think, and then you pitch in, if I've read correctly, he's even moved the girlfriend into the house in front of the wife. Again, he does not seem like a very savory individual. What you have to do as a prosecutor is kind of recognize that. I can remember trying cases where two drug dealers had a shootout and killed each other. And so you got to take that into consideration and focus on justice.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's get a break in here. A friend of the defendant's brother takes the stand. We'll watch that coming up.
Join Court TV's Vinnie Politan.
In every story, in every trial, every case, there's at least two sides to it.
To dive into the latest.
Oh my God.
And breaking true crime stories.
This was a very targeted, very personal attack.
Inside.
I've never seen that in Discovery. I've been incarcerated 3 years.
And outside of the courtroom.
She's a psychopath.
Now, let's look at the other side of all of that.
Vinnie Politan Investigates. Tonight, 9/8 Central. Only on Court TV.
The defendant stalked, planned, and calculated to kill his own father.
So I walked down in the ditch. There was a piece of carpet on it. I pulled the carpet off, and it appeared to be a body.
There's an entrance gunshot wound to the left forehead.
That would be that lower bullet hole that had just been patched and with paint.
But did Nathan shoot your father? Not that I know of. He was with me.
Back to Iowa we go for more of the dead in the ditch murder trial, where the prosecution is expected to rest after a full day of testimony. Then tomorrow the defense will be up. We'll find out if the defendant takes the stand. We're going to pick it up right now with one of the state's star witnesses. This is a neighbor of the Jones family.
Nathan and Alec left Bootleggers. What did you do?
Kept playing pool, like I was doing when I got there.
Did you receive any message from anybody after they had left?
Not for a while.
How long?
About 45 minutes, I think.
What did it say?
It was from Nathan. He said he needed to pick back up.
Back at his residence?
Yes.
What did you do then?
Went there and waited for him.
Did you take Michaela McNeely with you?
Yes.
Mr. Pay, what do we see in State's Exhibit 61?
Me, Nathan, and Michaela talking.
And where are you guys at?
In the back by the pool table.
In what bar?
Bootleggers.
Is there a timestamp anywhere on that exhibit?
21:14.
Do you know what time that is?
9.
Is there a date on there?
4/25.
What are you wearing in that picture?
Blue hoodie.
Are you wearing a hat?
Yes.
And then there's an individual facing away from the camera in a black hooded sweatshirt. Who is that?
Nathan.
Nathan Jones.
Yes.
And then there's an individual in a yellow sweatshirt holding a cup.
Michaela.
Michaela McNeely.
Yes.
Anybody else in that photo that you recognize?
No.
If you could turn in your binder to State's Exhibit 62. Your Honor, for the record, that has also previously been admitted. You recognize that photo?
Yes.
What's going on there?
Me and Michaela are leaving.
Would that be what you just testified to? You left when you were leaving the bar?
Yes.
To go to the Jones residence?
Yes.
Is there a timestamp on that picture?
22:51.
Still on April 25th?
Yes.
When you left Bootleggers with Michaela McNeely, did you go straight to the Jones residence?
Yes.
How long of a drive is it?
Like between 5 and 10 minutes.
What did you do when you arrived?
Parked across the street.
The house sits on the corner
Yes.
of 15th Street and 2nd Avenue, right?
Yes.
Were you facing 15th Street?
Yes.
Were you parked on the opposite side of the street of the house?
Yes.
Or the same side?
Opposite side.
You testified that you've been to that residence before.
Yes.
Is that how you would park normally when you were there?
Yes.
Did you get out of the car when you arrived?
No.
Why not?
I didn't think it would take that long for them to come out.
Did you message anyone?
Yeah, I told Nathan that we were there.
Did you get any response?
He said it would be a minute.
How long was it?
Half hour, maybe.
Were you communicating with anybody during that time?
Not really. I was just waiting, really.
Were you talking to Michaela?
Yeah.
Did you wonder what was going on?
Yes.
Did you get out of the car?
No.
Did you see anybody come in or out of the house?
No.
At some point, did you hear something from inside the Jones house?
Yes.
What did you hear?
Gunshots.
How many?
6 or 7.
Did you see anything inside the house?
No.
Did it startle you? What was your reaction?
Kind of startled me. Because I didn't know where it was coming from.
What happened after the gunshots?
Alec and Nathan come running out to the car.
Saying anything?
Telling me to go.
Who was telling you to go?
I don't remember which one it was.
Was your car running?
No.
It had been a while.
Yes.
You had shut it off?
Yes.
Was Michaela McNeely, where was she in the vehicle?
Front seat.
Did she ever get out?
No.
Where did Nathan and Alec sit in your vehicle?
Back seat.
One on each side of the car? They get in the same door?
Same door.
Is there anything in the back seat?
Yeah.
What?
Car seat.
So they'd have to sit in the middle and the driver's side?
Yes.
Rear seat?
Yes.
What happened then?
I got told to drive.
Okay, Mr. Pate, I'm going to have to ask you to turn around briefly and look at that screen. Do you recognize this location?
Yes.
What are we looking at?
I see the residence on the corner.
Opposite the camera?
Yes.
Do you see your vehicle?
No.
This time I'm going to publish the exhibit. the record, that the timestamp on that video begins at 11:33. 11:33:48 or 23:33:48 as on the system. Mr. Pate, did that depict the gunshots that you described for the jury?
Yes.
We saw a vehicle whose lights turned on.
Yes.
Does you recognize that as your vehicle now?
Yes.
Did you see anybody run out of the house in that video?
Yes.
How many?
2.
Is that what you observed that night?
Yes.
They got into your car?
Yes.
Somebody yelled, "Go, go, go."
Yes.
And you did?
Yes.
Where did you go?
Turned on to South 15th.
Right there at the corner, turned right?
Yes.
And then what'd you do?
Went up to 5th, turned right again.
Gonna have to speak up, sir.
Turned right on 5th Avenue South?
Yes.
Domino's Pizza?
Yes.
Then what did you do?
Yeah, went another block and then turned right again.
Why were you driving that way?
I got told to go back.
Got told to go back where?
To the house.
Who told you to do that?
Alec did.
Alec Jones?
Yes.
All right, let's get a break here. More direct testimony from the neighbor, Aiden Pate, right after this. Stay with us. Welcome back. This morning we're watching the dad in the ditch murder trial. The defendant, Alec Jones. He's accused of killing his father, Dennis, after an argument with the help of his brother, Nathan. The siblings are being tried separately. Nathan's friend, Aiden Pat, is on the stand. He's testifying that Alec Jones asked him to help move Dad's body.
Get back to the house.
Yes.
How long had you been driving?
About a minute or 2.
Where did you park?
Same spot.
What happened after you parked?
Alec and Nathan got out.
Got out of your car?
Yes.
Where did you see them go?
Back inside.
Did you get out of the car?
No.
Did Michaela McNeely get out of the car?
No.
How long were they inside?
About 30 seconds.
Did they say why they needed to go back?
Not at first.
Did Alec eventually say why?
Yes.
Why?
They needed to move something.
What?
A body.
So Alec told you what needed to be moved?
A body.
Did they come out of the residence? You said about 30 seconds later?
Yes.
Did they get back into your vehicle?
Yes.
Both Alec and Nathan?
Yes.
Where did you go?
They told me to pull in the driveway.
Where is the driveway on the residence?
On the back side of the house.
Off of 15th Street?
Yes.
And you backed your vehicle into the driveway?
Yes.
How come?
I was told to.
Who told you to do it?
Alec.
Did he say why?
No.
What happened after you backed your car into the driveway?
I got out of the car.
All 4 of you?
No.
Who got out?
I did.
What did you do?
Went inside with Nathan and Alec.
Did Michaela McNeely go in?
No.
How did you enter the house?
Through the back door.
And that's off the driveway?
Yes.
What did you see when you were inside?
Body on the floor.
In what room?
Kitchen.
Did you know who it was?
Yes.
Who was it?
Dennis.
Alec and Nathan's father?
Yes.
Had you met him before?
No.
Did you recognize him?
Yeah.
You'd seen him before?
Yes.
Talked to him?
No.
Make any observations of the body?
Not really.
Is Dennis Jones alive?
What?
Was he alive?
No.
See any gunshot wounds?
Yes.
Where at?
Head and chest.
Had Alex said anything when you entered the house?
Just that we have to move it.
You said you saw the body on the kitchen floor.
Yes.
Did you see anything else on the kitchen floor?
A rug that he was on.
Did you see anything, any other objects around the body of Dennis Jones?
No.
Any weapon?
No.
Any hammer?
Nope.
What happened next?
We moved him.
Say that again?
We moved him.
How did you move him?
One of us grabbed each arm, and then one of us grabbed the legs.
Who grabbed his arms?
Nathan and Alec grabbed the arms.
Who grabbed his legs?
I did.
Did you use the rug?
No.
Picked him directly up?
Yes.
Is it difficult to move his body?
Yes.
Heavy?
Yes.
How long did it take?
Like 5 minutes. 10 maybe.
Was your trunk open?
Not at first, no.
Is that where the body ended up?
Yes.
After the body was in the trunk, what happened?
We drive to the river.
Was that your idea?
No.
Somebody tell you to drive there?
Yes.
Who told you?
Alec.
Did he tell you where to go? Did he give you turn-by-turn instructions? How did he tell you where to go?
Just told me where to go, because I've been down there before.
You repeat that for me?
I've been down there before.
So he said go to the river?
Yes.
What did he say?
Go to River Road.
How did you get there from his house?
I went on a 15th and then took 5th all the way down off Kenyon Road.
Across the Kenyon Road Bridge?
Yes.
Towards the hospital?
Yes.
And then what?
Left at the end of the bridge.
And where did that take you?
Down by the river.
Did you end up by your access point to the river?
Yes.
What happened then?
Alec got out.
Why did he say he wanted to go to the river?
To get rid of the gun.
Did you see a gun?
Yes.
Who had the gun?
Alec had the gun.
Had you seen that gun before that night?
Yes.
Where?
He had it most of the times we hung out.
He being who?
Alec.
You had seen Alec Jones with that gun multiple times before?
Yes.
Can you describe the gun?
Black, it had a laser on it.
Can you repeat that again a little louder?
Black with a laser on it.
And you saw it, he had it in your car that night?
Yes.
You drove to the river?
Yes.
What did he do?
He got out and threw the gun in the river.
Did you see him throw it?
Yes.
How far did he throw it?
As far as he could.
Did he have anything else?
A phone.
A phone?
Yes.
What did he do with the phone?
Threw that in the river too.
Did he say whose phone, what phone?
No.
Did you ask him?
No.
What happened next?
He gets back in the car, and then I get directions to Otha.
Who gave you those directions?
Alec.
Telling you where to turn?
Yes.
What was your route?
Went down 169 and then took gravel road.
Did he tell you where to turn,
Yes.
where to stop, where to go?
Yes.
Where did you stop?
Past the field.
Were you were on a gravel road?
Yes.
Did you pull into just the side of the road, a field entrance? Where were you?
I think I backed into the field entrance.
So that your trunk was facing the field?
Yes.
Did Alex state why you were driving out into the country?
No.
Did he tell you to back in?
Yes.
After you backed in, what happened?
I popped the trunk and then we get him out.
Who's we?
Me, Alec, and Nathan.
Oof, all right, this is not good for the defendant. Let's bring back Tommy Pope. It's pretty clear they're trying to cover this up, and this witness seems very credible along for this ride, and his just overall demeanor. He obviously wasn't the alpha male here calling the shots.
I thought he was very credible. He was very put together. I've had similar cases, with potential co-defendants or friends. For whatever reason, he doesn't seem nervous. He seems pretty matter of fact with what he's telling. I don't know if he's been charged or not, as some type of accessory. I mean, he's clearly admitted to helping move the body and help cover up the crime. But again, he's being very straightforward, and it takes it clearly away from, as we discussed earlier, something that just happened at the house and you call the police and he was beating mama or whatever. They put a lot of thought into this, and I think it's going to reflect it in the jury verdict.
Yeah, it does not look good. How would you go after this witness, given his seeming credibility? We're not in the courtroom, so we're not picking up on all of it, but how do you handle a guy like this, basically a kid?
Obviously I was always the prosecutor. From a cross-examination standpoint, there's so much there that I don't know that you don't lose credibility as the defense if you try too hard. I mean, maybe there's some things you can point out. Maybe they want to shift it to Nathan. Initially when I saw it, I was curious why they were trying Alec and Nathan separately. And maybe it's because the witnesses have clearly made that, Alec, being the older brother, is kind of the leader. And so maybe, that's why they're facing it in this regard. But I don't know, unless there's some little details on time or statements or, there doesn't seem to be a lot to go with from a cross standpoint.
The state is expected to wrap up direct today, or their case in chief today. Do you think this is a case you put the, throw the old Hail Mary and throw Alec on the stand?
Again, I don't know about his, prior record, but I mean, based on what little bit you and I've shared today, I don't see what they have to lose. I mean, obviously his counsel, they spend time with him. They know his demeanor. They know his abilities. Again, I don't even know what options there are legally. Are there lesser included offenses? Are they, kind of going back to, dad needs killing type deal, and so I think that's something that they'll consider, but I don't know what he's got to lose.
Yeah, we'll find out soon enough. Again, the state expected to wrap its case in chief today, and then it's time for the defense. Tommy Pope, as always, thank you. Up next, the witness describes actually moving the body of his buddy's dad. Stay with us.
A reporter brutally murdered for digging too deep.
His death was absolutely devastating.
The suspect, a former politician and subject of the victim's story on corruption.
Can you tell us anything?
Now will Robert tell us, go from elected official to convicted killer.
Once all the evidence comes out, it'll be clear as day.
Is it possible that bad press is a motive for murder?
The investigative reporter murder trial. Live coverage begins this week on Court TV.
Court TV Live, we are watching this case out of Iowa, the dad in the ditch murder trial. We've been listening to testimony from Aiden Pate. He is a friend of the defendant, Alec Jones. He testified that he heard gunshots while parked outside Jones's home, and that the defendant asked him to help him move his father's body to the ditch. This is still direct.
How'd you get out?
Drug him out.
Was it difficult?
Yes.
Was the body of Dennis Jones dropped or drug on the ground?
Yes.
Was it drug on the ground back at the residence?
Yes.
And drug on the ground on the road?
No.
Into the ditch?
No.
How was his body drugged?
Which time?
When you were out at the field entrance?
It was carried.
Did you go into the ditch, go into the field? What happened?
Went into the ditch. No, we went in the field first.
Whose idea was it to go into the field?
Alex.
How far into the field did you go?
Not very far.
It was late April.
Yes.
Was there anything in the field?
No.
Had it been planted?
No.
What happened? You said not very far. Why not? What happened?
Went into the ditch because it was windy.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
It was windy, so we went into the ditch instead.
It was windy?
Yes.
Why'd that make you go to the ditch?
I don't know.
Who said it was windy?
It was just windy.
So you placed the body in the ditch?
Yes.
Then what happened?
It was covered with a rug.
Covered with a rug?
Yes.
The same rug that you observed underneath Dennis Jones when you were in the residence?
Yes.
Who put that rug in your car?
I think Alec did.
Who took the rug out of your car? At the ditch?
Alec, I think.
What was Dennis Jones wearing?
Shorts and a t-shirt.
Did those come off?
Yes.
When?
When we were getting him out of the trunk.
How come?
I think it slid off.
The shirt slid off?
No, the shorts.
The shorts slid off?
Yes.
So now he's not wearing pants.
Yes.
He's in the ditch.
Mm-hmm.
And Alec took the rug out.
Yes.
And did what with it?
Covered him.
What was Alec wearing?
A hoodie and pants.
Did he have a t-shirt?
I don't know.
Did Alec change his clothes in the ditch?
He took his pants off.
What did he do with them?
Put him on Dennis.
Alec took his pants off, placed them on Dennis.
Yes.
In the ditch?
Yes.
Do you have a rotor in your car?
Yes.
Where was it?
In the trunk.
Can you tell me what a rotor is?
Goes to a car for the brakes.
What was it doing in your trunk?
I bought one because I was going to replace one.
Didn't end up doing it?
No.
Did that end up in the ditch as well?
Yes.
Who took it out?
Nathan, I think.
Where was it placed?
On top of Dennis.
Then what happened?
We leave.
Where did you go?
Back to Bootleggers.
Alec didn't have any pants on then?
I had shorts.
That were underneath his longer pants?
Yes.
Did he put on any of your clothes?
Hoodie.
Where did he find that?
In the back seat.
Whose idea was it to go to Bootleggers?
Mine.
Yours?
Yes.
Why?
Because my dad was there.
So you drive from this ditch outside of Otho.
Yes.
Back into town.
Yes.
You know what time it is?
No.
Bar's still open.
Yes.
Mr. Pate, you can turn to 63 in that book. You recognize that picture?
Yes.
Where's that at?
Bootleggers.
And who do we see in that picture?
Me, Alec, Michaela, and my dad.
I'm sorry, I did not hear any of that.
Me, Michaela, Alec, and my dad.
Michaela's still wearing a yellow Iowa sweatshirt?
Yes.
Which one is Alec?
The red hoodie.
The red hoodie?
Yes.
And whose shirt is that?
Mine.
And where are you in that picture?
On the other side of Alec.
Wearing a hat?
Yeah.
What's the time stamp on that picture?
12:48.
What date?
26.
So we're past midnight.
Yes.
So this is after Dennis Jones' body was put in the ditch.
Yes.
How long were you at the bar?
Until close.
Till close?
Yes.
2 a.m.?
Yes.
Were you drinking?
Yes.
Was Michaela drinking?
Yes.
Alec?
I had like one, I think.
Nathan?
I don't remember. Maybe one.
What was Alec saying to you?
Keep quiet.
He told you to keep quiet?
Yeah.
About what?
About the body.
What did you say to him?
I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything.
You all arrived in your car?
Yes.
All right, we need to slip in a commercial break. We will have the remaining direct with Aiden Payton. How's the cross going to go? We'll find out in just a bit. Stay with us. Back up. TV Live, I'm Ted Rollins. Glad to be with you on this Monday morning. I'm in for Julie Grant today, and it's a busy week here, and we're starting it off with testimony from Friday in the Dad in the Ditch murder trial out of the state of Iowa. Remember, the judge in that case won't let us broadcast live, so we're just basically a day behind, but it's a fascinating case. Alec Jones is charged with first-degree murder in the shooting death of his father, Dennis, back in April, then dumping the body with some help with a buddy and his brother. Prosecutors said the 26-year-old was upset with home life, alleging that the victim abused Alec's mom.
I can't really tell you anything. I don't know nothing by what, I don't know. They're good boys. This wasn't premeditated. Vinny and I had an altercation earlier that Thursday evening, and I went to bed.
At an interview with the boy's mother, Alec's younger brother Nathan is also charged. He's facing aiding and abetting murder. He'll be tried at a later date. Remember, we're not allowed to have it, on air, so we're basically catching up from Friday. And on Friday, there was this huge witness for the state. This guy by the name of Aiden Pat, and he's a friend of Nathan Jones, the defendant's younger brother. He was there during all of this, and he's describing to the jury how he helped the boys move Dad's body and throw him into the ditch and then go to a bar afterwards.
So you get to the Jones residence again?
Yes.
After 2 a.m.?
Yes.
All four of you?
Yes.
What happens?
We go in.
Did you go in on your own, or why?
I went with everybody else.
Did anybody tell you to go in?
No.
What do you observe inside the house?
The blood and bullet holes in the wall.
And what happens?
That got cleaned up.
What did you do?
I stood there.
Did you help?
No.
What did you observe? Who was doing what?
Michaela was cleaning the floor.
Cleaning what up off the floor?
Yes.
What?
Blood.
With what?
A rag.
What was Alec Jones doing?
Painting the wall.
What was Nathan Jones doing?
Picking up shells.
Did you see any black gloves?
Yeah.
Can you describe them?
Black latex gloves.
Where were they?
On the kitchen counter.
On the kitchen counter?
Yes.
Did you see anybody touch them?
Yes.
Who?
Nathan.
What did he do?
Put the shells in them.
Did you ever observe Alec or Nathan wearing black latex gloves?
I don't think so.
Did you ever wear gloves?
Not latex gloves, no.
A different kind?
Yes.
What kind?
Like winter gloves.
When were you wearing those?
When we first got there. When we were moving the body.
Where were these winter gloves?
I don't know. Alec brought them to me.
Alec Jones brought you winter gloves?
Yes.
Told you to put them on?
Yes.
And you used those while you moved the body?
Yes.
How long were you in the house after bar closed?
Like half an hour, I think.
Did you go into Dennis Jones's room?
I don't think so.
Did anybody?
Yeah.
What were they doing?
I really don't remember what they were doing in there.
What was Alec Jones' mood like during this?
He seemed upset.
Did he tell Michaela McNeely to wipe up the floor?
I think so.
Did you hear him say it?
No.
So this goes on for 45 minutes. Try painting the wall, cleaning the floor, anything else that you can recall, picking up the shells, anything else?
I don't think so.
Then what happened?
Me and Michaela leave and I take her home.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Me and Michaela leave and I take her home.
What about Nathan and Alec?
They stay.
And you left with Michaela?
Yes.
Where did you take her?
To her house.
Out by Iowa Central?
Yes.
Where did you go?
After that, I went home.
At any point that night, did Alec Jones tell you that Dennis Jones threatened him with a weapon?
No.
Did Alec Jones ever tell you his father had a weapon?
No.
Did Alec Jones tell you that his father attacked him?
Yes.
What did he say?
He came at me.
You drove back to Thor?
No.
Where did you go?
It's my dad's.
And he lives in Fort Dodge?
Yes.
I'm looking at 64. That's kind of a frontal picture of your Impala.
Yes.
Okay. If we go to 65. Is that your trunk?
Yes.
Is that where the body was placed?
Yes.
Was the rest of that in there when that happened?
I think so, yes.
Do you remember when the police first made contact with you about this case?
Yes.
Were you truthful with them?
No.
Did you tell them you weren't involved?
Yes.
Did you tell them you were driving a different vehicle?
Yes.
Why?
Because I wanted nothing to do with it.
But you had something to do with it.
Yes.
And you talked to police another time.
Yes.
Did you say something about being threatened at that time?
Yes.
What did you say?
That I was at gunpoint.
By who?
Alec.
Was that true?
No.
Did Alec Jones ever point the gun at you that night?
No.
Why did you say that?
So my stepdad would actually take my side and believe me about anything.
Was your stepdad present during that?
No.
Was he present during your interview with law enforcement?
The first time or second time?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Which time?
The second time.
Yes.
When you stated that you were threatened with a gun.
Yes.
Alec Jones did have a gun.
Yes.
He never pointed it at you.
No.
He never threatened you.
No.
Have you been honest today?
Yes.
All right, the direct examination of this friend who found himself in the middle of a cleanup after a murder. Mike King is with us. He's a retired police commander, and he's the host of Profiling Evil. Mike, good to see you. The case seems very strong at this point in this trial, and this witness really brought you there with his sort of subtle but informative dissertation on what took place while getting rid of Dad's body there and throwing him in the ditch.
Yeah, this guy clearly doesn't want to be in that courtroom today. or yesterday, and he is being pretty darn clear about the things that he saw. A couple of things I think that are really interesting in his testimony, Ted, are that, number one, he didn't have the emotion of being involved in the murder, but now he's got all the emotion of witnessing this horrendous crime scene. And so he's reliving that even as he sits there. But you can see him continuing to look, I think, at the defendant in the case. Again, this is probably his friend that he's maintained a relationship with, even though he hasn't been able to talk to him since this thing happened. And he doesn't want to necessarily hurt his friend, but he clearly understands he's got to tell the truth of what he's seeing. And so we can see him kind of vicariously reliving the experience of walking through the inside of this crime scene. And we got to keep in mind there are two separate crime scenes. There's the location where the murder happened, and then there's the disposal site. And I think he's giving a pretty clear and accurate depiction of what he's seeing, and you can almost feel what he's emotionally sensing and feeling.
Yeah, reliving it, all of it, moment by moment. As a former police commander, you could appreciate good detective work. And in this case, it was interesting because the kids right away say, I didn't do it, it wasn't us. And then the investigator that conducted the interview was very open to, well, your dad was a scoundrel and he was hitting your mom. And they really were able to shift. These kids now they admitted it. And Alec, to large degree, admitted to shooting his dad and killing him. Boom. I mean, that is the way it should be done. And now we're seeing it all play out in the courtroom, all of that hard work during the investigation.
Yeah, I think the law enforcement folks did a great job of picking away at the case, taking the evidence that they're seeing and corroborating it with testimony that they're receiving. And they clearly understood from the beginning that these boys were probably involved. I suspect there's a lot of evidence that's going to come out that ties them directly to that. Footprints, probably fingerprints, and I'm saying fingerprints that might be like infused with blood or other kinds of things that really tie them to it, because you can't blame them for being in the house. They lived there. But then you got this entire story of domestic violence and the things that are going on in the relationship, the wacky relationship the father apparently has with a girlfriend living in the home, the mother in the home, the boys witnessing the abuse, hearing about the abuse. And something that keeps bugging me about this case, Ted, is the mother's testimony in the short little video clip with the news person outside of the home, where she talks about, hey, I went upstairs and went to sleep. There were a heck of a lot of bullets being shot in that house. If you follow that crime scene and look at the amount of bullets that were the holes that were covered up, you hear testimony of Nathan picking up spent casings that were ejected out of a round as they're either chasing this guy through the house or continuing to fire in one location, and it paints a picture of chasing him. This thing is full of all kinds of twists.
Sure is. And then the video that we did see today from the neighbor, where you heard the gunshot wounds or the gunshots outside the house, down the street, and the idea that she was in the house and was, some people are sound sleepers, but police. I mean, you're right. What is her role in this? And I don't know. It's a head scratcher.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting if testimony comes out that she had anything to do with planting the seed that he's got to be gone and that things have got to change, that the boys and their mom are going to be a lot happier at home if dad's out of the picture and his girlfriend's clearly gone. So it'll be interesting, and you can't take away from the fact that she's also a domestic violence victim, if in fact all of what's being kind of portrayed publicly is accurate. So her ability to think is probably pretty skewed too.
Yeah. In fact, the boys had to have endured a horrible situation at home if to your point, what we are hearing is true about what was going on in that house. And you wonder if that will be taken into account by this jury or not. Maybe if he takes a stand. We'll get a break here, though. We're going to get the cross-examination of Aiden Pate, the defendant's friend. How's the defense going to handle him after telling the story to the jury about how he helped his friends get rid of the body of their dad? Stay with us.
Tonight on Court TV.
These are the big cases that everyone is talking about.
A lot of new developments taking place.
Shocking.
I know who killed John Bonet.
To say the least.
You cannot make this stuff up.
It's unreal. The scene of the double murders is behind us right here. Things are happening. The investigation is continuing.
Closing arguments with Vinny Politan. Tonight at 8, 7 Central. Only on Court TV.
The defendant stalked, planned, and calculated to kill his own father.
So I walked down in the ditch. There was a piece of carpet on it. I pulled the carpet off, and it appeared to be a body.
There's an entrance gunshot wound to the left forehead.
That would be that lower bullet hole that had just been patched and with paint.
But did Nathan shoot your father? Not that I know. He was with me.
Watching the dad in the ditch murder trial out of the state of Iowa this morning, and the testimony of Aiden Pate. He is a friend of Nathan Jones, who is the brother of the defendant, Alec Jones. He testified that he was asked to help move the body of the victim, Dennis Jones' dad. On cross, he's about to be asked about Nathan and how he was acting the day that Dennis Jones was killed. As a reminder, we're on a court-ordered 24-hour delay on this trial, so this was Friday. The state is expected to arrest its case in chief today. Then it'll be time for the defense. Well, let's go pick up this testimony of this key witness on the stand, cross-examination.
You indicated today that you were at Bootleggers earlier in the evening on April 25th, 2024. Is that right?
Yes.
Prior to the gunshots in this case, had anyone discussed any plans to kill Dennis Jones?
No.
Had anyone made you aware of what was going to happen?
No.
Had anyone asked for your assistance in cleaning up?
No.
Okay. So when you were asked to go pick up Nathan Jones at his home,
Yes.
you had no idea that shots were going to be fired, is that right?
Yes.
Fair to say that was pretty darn surprising for you.
Yeah.
Nobody made any plans with you, is that fair?
Yeah.
You said that evening you had been hanging out with Michaela for several hours as well, right?
Yeah.
And that's prior to the gunshots, okay?
Yeah.
During that time, did you see Nathan or Alec making any plans with her?
No.
Okay. When you were sitting in the car with Michaela after you came to the residence, did Michaela let you know there were any plans?
No.
Let's kind of talk a little bit about your time that night. First off, you indicate that you had been drinking at Bootleggers, right?
Yes.
And I think you said before that you'd been at Shiny Tap, is that right?
Yeah.
Now, Shiny Tap's also a bar, is that right?
Yeah.
Had you been drinking at Shiny Tap?
I think I had like one beer at Shiny Tap because they had their live music on Thursdays, which is why I went.
I'm gonna need you to speak up. I couldn't hear any of that.
I think I had one beer at Shiny Tap because they had their live music on Thursdays, which is why I went.
Okay. How many do you think you had when you were at Bootleggers?
3 or 4.
Okay. Are you confident in that number?
Probably not.
Fair to say you're getting after it?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have any shots?
I don't think so.
Okay. How clear is your memory from that night?
Not very.
Okay. When it comes to times, did anyone show you any videos or anything to help refresh your recollection on the times when things happened?
A little bit.
Okay. Did anyone show you any videos before this to help refresh your recollection on what had happened?
A little bit.
Okay. Did anyone have you listen to your recordings before this?
No.
Okay. Let's kind of, now are there things that maybe you were making answers to that you couldn't quite remember?
No.
Okay, you could remember everything you answered?
Yes.
So when you said, I think, did that mean you really could remember it or just that maybe it happened?
I partially remember that.
Okay, so that's a shaky memory.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's talk about you being here today. You are aware that you could be facing charges for your involvement in that evening, is that right?
Yes.
You could be facing felony charges, is that right?
Yeah.
You are currently facing no charges, is that right?
Yes.
And is that, to your understanding, because you're cooperating?
Yes.
Okay. So by showing up and testifying, you're getting a pretty big benefit, is that right?
Yeah.
Now let's talk about things a bit. So, when you're at Bootleggers, Alec comes pretty upset and talks with Nathan for a few minutes, is that right? So, when Alec goes and gets Nathan, they leave for quite a while, is that right?
Yes.
When you get the communication from Nathan where he asks for a ride, you kind of already knew you were going to be getting a request for a ride, is that right?
Yeah.
That's because he'd already talked to you about giving him a ride?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you leave right away?
No.
Okay. How long does it take you to leave from when you get that communication?
I finish my drink and then go.
Question, what type of drink were you drinking?
I don't even remember.
Okay. Do you remember how full the drink was when you had to finish it?
I think it was almost gone.
Okay. Leave no wounded soldiers? Okay. So you finish the drink, you head out with Michaela. When you get to the residence, he said you parked outside, is that right?
Yeah.
Do you recall driving around the block at all during that time, or moving the car?
No.
Okay. Do you recall ever getting out of the car and walking around or pacing?
No.
Do you recall ever walking up to the door at all?
Nope.
Okay. Do you recall Michaela ever getting out of the car?
No.
Okay. Now, I couldn't hear your response. How many people did you say ran out of the house when there were gunshots?
2.
Okay. Now, you'd agree the video would probably be the best evidence of how many people ran out.
Yes.
When you saw them come out, where did they come out from?
The front door.
The front door, so the people would have come out the front door. Okay. Now, when everyone's coming out that front door, you say it's both Alec and Nathan coming out the front door?
Yes.
At the same time?
Yes.
When you were sitting waiting outside, you said you're outside for about a half hour, is that right?
Yeah.
Were the lights in the house on?
I didn't see anything on.
Okay. Do you remember that at this point?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think video footage would be a better explanation of whether lights are on or not, too?
Yeah.
Okay. And at this point, we're 3.5 months later. Is that fair?
Yeah.
And you're pretty drunk that night. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Well, is it fair?
No.
You weren't drunk?
I was.
Okay, you're pretty drunk. So you're drunk, and it's 3.5 months later, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when you leave the house, or when Alec gets in the car, he's pretty upset, isn't he?
Yes.
Is he crying?
Yes.
Nathan's crying?
Yes.
And you guys just rocket from the scene, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. But then you drive around the block and just come right back, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. No good instant plan, is that fair?
No.
We need a break. We'll get you back into the courtroom. Watch the rest of the cross and the redirect of this witness. Stay with us. The prosecution is set to rest today before the defense presents its case tomorrow in the Dad in the Ditch trial out of the state of Iowa. 26-year-old Alec Jones is accused of gunning down his father in April and then dumping his body. We're going to pick up our testimony here from one of the state's star witnesses. This is a friend of the Jones brothers. And you remember, he was not charged. The brother was charged, but the guy on the stand, Aiden Pate, was not charged in exchange for his testimony. Let's go back in, pick it up with Cross.
Now let's talk about the relationship of everyone involved here. You were good friends with Nathan, right?
Yes.
You were friends with Michaela as well, right?
Yes.
You weren't that much friends with Alec, though, is that right?
Yeah.
In fact, you were wearing a SpongeBob sweatshirt that night, is that right?
Yes.
Nathan was also wearing a SpongeBob sweatshirt that night, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. You, Nathan, Michaela, you're all about the same age, right?
She's older.
Okay. Well, you and Nathan are about the same age, right?
Yeah.
Alex about 4 years older?
I think so.
Okay. At least you know he's older than you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. He wasn't with you in school. Is that fair? Now, you would agree your story on what happened that night has evolved over time. Is that fair?
Yes.
The first time you spoke with officers without your stepdad, right?
Yes.
The second time you spoke with your stepdad, is that correct? I'm just going to ask you to wait a little on the answers, okay? You would agree your stepdad was very interested in you talking to the officers and telling them everything. Is that correct?
Yes.
He was pretty loud about it?
Yes.
You made up the story about Alec threatening you with a gun. You said because you were afraid, you wanted your stepdad's help?
I just wanted him to believe me.
Okay. Now today, you also, in those first two interviews, you never mentioned that Michaela McNeely was with you, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. But that is true that she was with you,
Yes.
is that correct? You also initially said you were driving the Cadillac, right?
Yeah.
And you're driving the Impala.
Yes.
Did you indicate you were driving the Cadillac so they wouldn't know the right vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you have denied being any part of the cleanup of the house, is that right?
Yeah.
You didn't help patch the walls?
No.
You didn't help with the paint?
Nope.
You didn't suggest any of that?
No.
You didn't move any hammer, is that right?
I didn't see a hammer.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that you've seen Alec with a gun before, is that right?
Yes.
You told officers it was a Glock that you saw him with?
I don't really pay attention to brands.
Do you remember informing officers that it was a Glock?
Yes. Because that's what I thought it was.
You've seen Nathan with the same gun?
Yes.
You've seen Michaela with the same gun?
Yes.
Have there been any promises made to you if you testify here today?
No.
But you're hoping not to be charged, is that right?
Yes.
You indicated that you spoke a little bit with Alec about what happened in the house, is that right?
When?
When the shooting occurred.
Yeah.
Did he go into great detail about it?
No.
Did you ask questions much about it?
No.
But Alec did indicate that Denny came at him, is that right?
Yeah.
Mr. Pate, I just want to clarify some things. Did anybody threaten you to testify today?
No.
Did anybody tell you that if you testify today, you would not be charged regarding your involvement in this situation?
No.
Did anybody tell you if you didn't testify, you would be charged in this?
Yes.
Who told you that?
Well, you said I'd have a warrant if I didn't show up.
You were told if you didn't respond to a subpoena,
Yes.
there would be a warrant?
Yes.
For failure to appear with a subpoena?
Yes.
Nothing to do with being charged with this case?
No.
Nothing from law enforcement?
No.
Nothing from Miss Taylor or myself?
No.
You've not been promised anything, have you?
No.
Moving a body, would you agree, would be a difficult thing to forget?
Yes.
You remembered that?
Yes.
You remembered the gloves?
Yes.
The casings?
Yes.
The gun being thrown in the river?
Yes.
Ms. McNeely, were you trying to protect her?
Yes.
Is that why you didn't tell officers she was with you?
Yes.
You got involved in a bad situation.
Yes.
And you tried to hide it from law enforcement at first.
Yes.
Now, you were pretty confident that you didn't hear Alec say much, except that Denny came out, right?
Yes.
Did he say he had to shoot him?
He said he had to do it.
Did Alec tell you where he was in the house?
No.
Did Alec ever say he was scared for his life?
No.
Did he ever say he was scared at all?
No.
Did he ever say he was threatened with a weapon?
No.
And you didn't observe a weapon around the body of Dennis Jones?
No.
In the kitchen?
Nope.
On the counter?
No.
All right, this witness, solid, seems very honest, at times saying, yeah, I drank a lot that night. Memory was hazy, but also crystal clear on the most important part of it. Here to discuss, retired police commander and host of Profiling Evil, the podcast, also the author of the book Deceived, Mike King. So overall, what do we think of the cross, I guess, establishing that, hey, you're hoping for a good deal here, and we're supposed to take everything you say with a grain of salt. What'd you think?
I think the defense brought in a really clear point that, number one, he's there because he's got a deal, because they've got to show some kind of weakness or a chink in the prosecution's armor, which I think they're having a really difficult time finding. But it also made it very clear that this witness isn't promised anything. If it comes out that he's lied or there's something wrong with his testimony, he could face charges. And so he's got a real motivation to be honest about everything he's seeing there, Ted.
Yeah, he did seem like a kid that was caught up in this and gets a call, and next thing you know, he's helping to move a body. Very traumatic, and prosecutors have obviously, and they haven't charged him yet, and they likely won't. Again, we talked about the way out for this young man, and the state in their opening statement told the jury that this victim is not a likable guy. He's not a good guy. How does that factor in on a investigation and then a prosecution when, at the end of the day, nobody's that upset that the victim was killed, or you can see why the motivation was there. It was not just an innocent person.
I think the defense has to really play on a couple of key points here. Number one is that this is a man that reportedly has been involved in domestic violence inside the home. The children have witnessed it probably throughout their entire lives, that they're all living in a really goofy situation, that clearly he's not likable from the standpoint of the Father of the Year award, but the guy is still a victim of a homicide. And that's the thing that the defense is going to really be facing, and the prosecution has to continue to pound home, is that, yeah, he might have been a crummy guy, and again, I'm using maybe everybody else's terminology because I don't know the guy, but he's still a victim of crime. His kids still hunted him down and shot him inside that home. His kids still took him and dumped his body in a field. And it was clearly completely disorganized the way they did things. He was obviously where he could be found quite easily. And all of it shows how disorganized they were in this thing and how much anger was involved. And then they clearly, Ted, went back and tried to dress up that crime scene and stage it so that it looked like nothing ever happened there. So I think they've got a really tall mountain to climb.
Yeah, try is the key word there. They didn't do a great job, but they absolutely attempted to clean up, paint, and do all the rest of it, and investigators right away noticed all of it. Let's get a break. Next witness, the defendant's friend, who was his brother's girlfriend, takes the stand.
Was a reporter brutally murdered for digging too deep?
Once all the evidence comes out, it'll be clear as day.
Will Robert Tellez go from elected official to convicted killer?
The investigative reporter murder trial begins this week on Court TV. This week.
Join us each morning to get trial ready for the day's proceedings. Plus, deeper dives into true crime stories with our daily spotlight.
Opening statements with Julie Grant. Mornings at 8, 7 Central on Court TV.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Ted Rowlands in for Julie Grant on this Monday as we continue to watch testimony in the Dad in the Ditch murder trial. And coming up next, the testimony of Michaela McNeely. Now, she is the defendant's friend, best friend, they say, and the girlfriend of Nathan Jones, the brother. Prosecutors allege that Alec and Nathan Jones killed their father. Alec fired the shot after an argument, and his brother Nathan helped him with the body. Here we go with this new witness talking about the night that Dad was murdered. Let's watch.
I'm going to ask you about some individuals. Do you know Nathan Jones?
Yes.
Do you know Alec Jones?
Yes.
And do you know Aiden Pate?
Yes.
How do you know Nathan Jones?
He was my boyfriend.
When was he your boyfriend?
For a while, I don't remember exactly. Just like a few, since this incident. I mean, we broke up.
How long? So you broke up after April 25th and 26th?
Yes.
How long before had you been dating?
About 2 months, I think.
How do you know Alec Jones?
He's my best friend.
Your best friend?
Yep.
How long has he been your best friend?
Probably since I met him, since December of last year.
Was that before or after you met Nathan?
After.
How often would you see Alec?
Probably every day.
Where at?
My house, his house, or wherever we went to.
How do you know Aiden Pate?
He was a friend of mine.
How did you meet him?
Through Nathan.
Would you hang out with Aiden?
Yeah, after I met him, yeah.
Would the four of you all hang out together?
Yes.
So on April 25th, do you remember that date?
Somewhat, yeah.
Were you with any of those individuals at some point during that day?
Yeah.
Who did you see first?
It was Nathan and Aiden. We went to the bar.
What bar?
Bootleggers.
How did you get there?
Aiden picked us up.
Were you at your residence?
Yes.
And do you live in the townhomes out by Iowa Central?
Yes.
Was Nathan with him already?
Yes.
And where did you go?
To Bootleggers.
Do you know what time of day?
I don't remember.
Was there a plan for the evening?
To drink.
What happened when you got to the bar?
We drank and was playing darts.
Was Nathan communicating with anybody?
I believe so. He was on his phone.
Do you know with who?
I assumed it was, I don't know, I didn't know who it was at first, no.
Did you find out?
Yes.
How?
He told me.
Who?
Nathan told me who he was talking to.
Who was he talking to?
Alec.
What was Alec saying?
Something about his mom and that Nathan needed to come home.
Statement of the party opponent. He stated what Alec was saying.
I'll overrule the objection insofar as
Alex said what?
Something about his mom and then Nathan needing to come home.
And how did Nathan had gotten to the bar with you and Aiden?
Yes.
How did he leave the bar?
With Alec.
How long had you been at Bootleggers before Alec arrived?
I don't remember exactly. I was drinking a lot.
Had you been communicating with Alec?
No.
What did Alec do when he got to the bar?
He walked in and got Nathan.
How was he behaving?
I don't know, really. Just concerned, it seemed like. Nervous or mad or something.
Did he talk to you?
Not really.
Would he normally talk to you?
Normally, yeah.
If he's your best friend?
Yeah. But sometimes, no.
Did you hear him talking to Nathan?
Not really, no.
Did you hear anything at all? Not really is not a complete answer.
Not really. He just said, "Are you ready?" And that was it. Like, ready to go.
And what happened?
They left.
How long was Alec there?
Maybe 5 minutes.
Did he drink anything?
No.
Was Nathan drinking?
Yes.
Aiden?
Yes.
Did you see what vehicle Alec drove?
Nope.
What did you do after those two left the bar?
I think I finished my drink and then I left with Aiden.
Did you know you were going to be leaving?
Not at first, no.
When did you find out?
When Aiden said we needed to go.
How come?
Because we were told at first that we were going to pick him up, Nathan up, after they talked to their dad.
So what was your understanding of Alec and Nathan leaving the bar to go to their house?
That they were going to confront their dad about their mom.
How so?
And I guess, what do you mean?
How were they going to confront him?
I assume talk to him. But I don't know, because I wasn't there.
Did you think it was going to be physical?
Yeah, because that's kind of how Denny was. And Kaylin was there too, so.
And then you left the bar.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you rode with Aiden?
Yes.
Where'd you go?
To their house.
Did you go in?
No.
How long did you sit outside the house?
It seemed like a long time, but maybe 15 minutes, but I'm not really sure.
What did you think you were going to do at the house?
Well, I assumed Kaylin was there, so I thought that I would have to be there in case she tried to fight them, because I wasn't going to let my friends fight a female.
So you were going to fight Kaylin?
If it had gotten that way, yeah.
So you knew they left that bar and that things were going to get physical?
I didn't know. I didn't know if it was going to get physical. I would have known that.
But you felt you had to be there to fight a female?
Only if Kaylin was there, because she has gotten physical before.
Okay, interesting take on all of this. Mike King still with us. So far, what do you think of this witness? And can maybe the defense make some hay with her on cross?
You know, I don't know if the defense is going to be able to do much with her. To me, the value she's really bringing is the premeditation, that they were putting together a posse. They were heading over to the house to confront the dad. Now, whether or not Nathan knew and was drinking and trying to build up his nerves beforehand, that's going to all come out, I guess, in his trial. But it's clear that this thing is coming together this way.
Do you think there's a chance that on cross they can sort of push this narrative of, well, you didn't think it was going to be a murder, right? There was no talk of let's go shoot him and throw him in a ditch, to help with the Alec story that this was self-defense. We go to confront him for beating up mom. Okay, that's legit. And now it gets out of hand and he ends up dead.
You know, Ted, you might be onto something, and I apologize for my little pause there. I wasn't having a senior moment. I thought I heard something from control in my ear. But what I think is really important here is that they were going to do something physical. They were going to confront him. There was going to be a confrontation. She was going to back him up to fight the dad's girlfriend. All of that is something that I think takes away her value to say this is not premeditated, but self-defense, and that this thing just fell apart in their lap. They were putting together a posse to go over there and tune up the dad. Whether that meant kill him or confront him verbally or beat him up, I don't know. But she clearly just testified to the fact that she was there in case the woman needed to be beat up as well.
Yeah, that was an interesting little tidbit there that she was there.
Crazy.
She didn't want them beating up a woman, so she showed up just in case. And it sounds like they'd done it before, which is another interesting part, that this, you know, it'll be fascinating to see if they end up in the defense case putting him on the stand and trying to weave this, because at this point it is not looking good, and they're going to have to likely throw the old Hail Mary in this one. We need a break. Mike King, thank you as always. Appreciate your valuable time and expertise.